Hello students, the topic that we are going to cover today is the administration of justice in Madras. This is the topic which I considered, I thought it's an important, and these are the revisionary videos that I'll be sharing with you people. Moreover, you should know that there are topics from the beginning which are important, and these are the some of the very important topics that I'm sharing revisionary videos of the same, like the advent of the Britishers in India and the administration of justice in Madras, Bombay, and Calcutta. So these three topics that we need to cover again. I'm thinking of revising these topics with you people again. These are the administration of justice system in Madras, which we are going to do today. Then is the administration of justice in Bombay, and last will be Calcutta. So these three topics I'm thinking of revising again, and I request you people, if there is any topic which you want me to revise again, you can send me through mail. You can write me a mail. You know my mail ID. It's swati.saxena@alc.edu.in. So in case you find any problem with any of the topic, you can mail me the same, and you can ask me to repeat that topic in my revisionary session. So I'll be doing it with you people. So in case you have any doubt with any session, you can write a mail to me. I'll revise that topic with you people. I'll do it again with you people. So I am thinking of revising, first of all, the administration of justice in Madras, Bombay, and Calcutta with you people. These were the initial topics that we have done. And today I'm starting with the administration of justice in Madras. So this topic we'll be doing today. Now, uh, uh, the entire topic is divided into three stages. So when we are doing the development of administration of justice in Madras, it is in three stages. Stage one is from 1639 to 1678. Stage two is from 1678 to 1683, and stage three is from 1683 to 1726. So the entire topic is divided into three stages. And first of all, one thing you should know, that when we are saying administration of justice in Madras, you should only concentrate about justice, not administration or any other thing. So you should basically focus about how justice is to be was administered in Madras from the advent of Britishers and till it is still 1726. Basically, why we are doing till 1726 is because after this, you people know, the Supreme Court at Calcutta was established, then high courts were established in 1861. Privy Council was the highest court of appeal. So later on, I have already done with you people the later on developments that has taken place after 1726. But this is early administration. So this is early administration of Madras. It is starting from 1639. It is still 1726, and after 1726, I have done it in the class with you people, that they were initially it was Supreme Court at Calcutta, which was established at in 1774. Then the Recorders Court were there in Bombay and Madras. Then there was High Court, which was established in 1861. Privy Council was simultaneously there. There were Nizamat Adalat, Sadar Diwani Adalat. So we have done this in the class also. I have done this in the reforms also. But the early administration of justice, we are doing this in three stages in Madras: 1639 to 1678, 1678 to 1683, 1683 to 1726. Now I'll start with my topic. Now first is stage one. Stage one is basically from 1639 to 1638. And you people know that in 1639, an Englishman known as Francis Day acquired a piece of land from Hindu Raja of Chandgiri for the East India Company. So Francis Day is an Englishman. He has acquired a piece of land from a Hindu Raja who used to rule over that time for the East India Company. So he acquired this piece of land for the East India Company from the Hindu Raja, and this piece of land was known as Madrasapatnam. And the company constructed a factory on this land, and that factory is known as Fort St. George, and this was created in 1640. Now, the people who started settling around this fort were known as they were basically the English people who started residing around the fort. They were known, therefore the establishment over there was known as White Town. Whereas the areas which were inhabited nearby to this fort, that means not around that fort, but somewhere nearby to that fort, these villages which are inhabited by the local Indian population, that settlement came to be known as Blacktown. So the entire Madras, the Madrasapatnam, was divided into two parts: White Town and Blacktown. White Town was resided by the English people, the Britishers, and Blacktown was mainly resided by the Indians. So there was a demarcation. Now, this Fort St. George is a place where a factory was constructed, and obviously, the people who will be managing this factory will be the Britishers, and they will reside in the White Town, and the people who will be working in this factory as laborers will be the Indians, and they'll be residing in the Black Town, so that it becomes convenient for them to come and work in this factory. Now, there, what is the system of justice? Now, understand this thing. There'll be an agent and his counsel. Now, in the White Town, the agent and counsel were authorized to decide both civil and criminal cases of only English people residing at Fort St. George. Now, I told you about the White Town. In White Town, only white people reside, only English people reside, and there'll be an agent and a counsel who will decide both civil and criminal cases for the English people. So, basically, for the English people, an agent and counsel will be appointed, and they will be dealing with both civil and criminal cases, but only they'll be dealing with both civil and criminal cases, but only for the English people. And he will be the agent. There'll be one person known as agent, and to assist this agent, there'll be a counsel. Now, apart from this is only for the English people. An agent and the counsel will be there. But if I talk about there'll be a court for the Indian people also. Now, you people know, for the English people who lives in White Town, there'll be agent and counsel. But for the people who live in Black Town, the Indians, there'll be a Chaudhry court, and it's a primitive and native Chaudhry court functioned here. This court was presided by a native judicial officer called Adhikari. So Adhikari is a native judicial officer. Native means he belongs to India only, and he is a native judicial officer. And it will not try serious offenses like murder, but tried only cases only, other cases only. So serious offenses are not tried by him. But what kind of cases he can try? He can try cases like petty criminal cases, petty civil cases, not very serious offenses. For example, stealing, a person has stolen a wallet of someone, a person has stolen a chain of someone. So petty cases, this Chaudhry court can deal with, and this court was mainly for the Indians. So you people know, at this time, two courts are there: agent and counsel for the white people. For the black people, there is a Chaudhry court, and there is a governor and council. By the Charter of 1661, the company was empowered to appoint governor and council to decide civil and criminal cases of all persons of the company. English rule was there to be adopted. So basically, by the Charter of 1661, what has happened? The company has appointed governor and his council, and this governor and council will decide all the civil the governor and his council will decide both the civil and criminal cases for all the persons of the company. So basically, this governor and his council, and appeals from the agent and his council, and the appeals from the Chaudhry court can be made to the governor and his council. The governor and the council will be the highest judicial making body. So basically, appeals can be made if the person is not satisfied by the judgment rendered by the agent and his council. The person can approach to the governor and council, and if the person, an Indian, is not satisfied by the judgment given by the Chaudhry court, he can also approach to the governor and his council. And English rule was followed, English law was followed by the governor and his council. Now we come to stage 2. In stage 2 is from 1678 to 1683, and High Court of Judicature was formed. Now what is this High Court of Judicature? The governor reorganized the whole judicial system in 1678. So this governor only reorganized the whole judicial system, and this High Court of Judicature sat twice a week. So twice a week they will sit and try civil and criminal. Both cases are tried by them, and 12 juries were there to help them. Jury, I told you, are the common people who are specialized in the areas of law or political science or sociologies. These people sit. These people also, these people act as jury, and they offer advice to the governor to take decisions. So basically, High Court of Judicature was established, and basically what they will try both civil and criminal cases. This court will sit twice a week, and it is assisted by 12 juries, 12 jury members, and they tried appeals from the Chaudhry court. So from the Chaudhry court, I'll tell you about the Chaudhry court. The appeal used to go to the High Court of Judicature. That means the person first of all has to approach the Chaudhry court, and if the person is not satisfied by the judgment given by the Chaudhry court, the person can approach the High Court of Judicature. Now, what is Chaudhry court? If you people know, the old Chaudhary court was reorganized. So the old one that was only for the Indians was reorganized, and Adhikari was replaced by three English officers. So instead of Adhikari, there'll be three English officers, and they sat twice a week and tried all cases up to the value of 50 pagodas. Now they also used to sit twice a week, and all the cases, or the civil cases, only civil cases it is written. So only all the civil cases which are up to rupees 50 pagodas. 50 pagodas were basically the coin that were minted at that time. So the value which are up to 50 pagodas were settled by them, and their decision was applicable to the governor in council. That means obviously a person from Chaudhary court can approach to the High Court of Judicature, and from the High Court of Judicature you can appeal to the governor in council. In fact, from the Chaudhary court also, the person can appeal to the governor in council. So basically, there are two. Governor and council will obviously be the highest authority in all the three stages. But yes, apart from the Chaudhary court, a new court known as High Court of Judicature was made, and this used to try both civil and criminal cases. So for the criminal cases, the persons can approach the High Court of Judicature, and otherwise the first court of appeal will be the Chaudhary court. From there, in civil cases only, from there the appeal can go to the High Court of Judicature, and finally the governor and council is the highest court of appeal. Now I come to the stage 3. Now stage 3, a new court that is known as Admiralty Court was established. Now when I was discussing about this court in the class, I told you that Admiralty Court is a court that deals with majorly the mercantile or maritime related issues. For example, your ships are fortified or seized, anything you have done wrong on your voyages on the seas. So all these cases were tried in the Admiralty Court. But over here, civil cases are also like can be tried in the Admiralty Court, and I'll explain you what is happening. It will deal with both civil and criminal cases also, plus mercantile cases also, which are related to ships fortification or anything wrong which has been committed on the sea voyages, that will be addressed by the Admiralty Court. Now this court was established in Madras in 1686. So in 1686 this court was established in Madras by the charter of 1683, and it was headed by a judge advocate. So a judge advocate used to head this, and it consisted of one person learned in civil law and two merchants appointed by the company. So it is headed by one person who knows about the civil law, and two merchants will be appointed by the company to head it. The court decided all cases of mercantile or maritime nature, trespass, injuries, and wrongs committed on high seas, forfeiture and seizure of ships or goods. So anything related to ships, seas, any injuries which have been done on the voyages on the sea. Because I told you that initially that trade used to happen through sea routes only. So if you have to travel, make your goods travel to international places, it was done through ships only. And obviously when people are engaged into voyages into ships, there can be cases that can happen on the ship, or there can be a seizure of their ships, or their ships can be attacked by some outside force. Therefore Admiralty Court was established. Now this court applied the rules of equity, good conscience, and the laws and customs of the merchants. So what laws will be applicable by the Admiralty Court? Basically rules of equity, good conscience, and the laws and customs of the merchants. Obviously laws and customs of the merchants will be familiar by these merchants only. And the rules of equity basically means what will constitute equality, what will give justice to the people, that is taken into consideration. Good conscience basically means what is the conscience of the person saying. Conscience means what the person is, what is right and what is wrong. This law is applicable, this law is applied by the Admiralty Court, and this court becomes the general court of the city for all practical purposes, settling all civil and criminal cases. To deal, Admiralty Court, apart from dealing with all mercantile or maritime natured cases, it also used to settle all the civil and criminal cases. And this court functioned till 1704. Till 1704, Admiralty Court used to function. Now what happened? Simultaneously, Mayor's Court were also there. Now, what is the Mayor Court? The Company Charter of 1687 established a Mayor Court at Madras. So, first of all, the first Mayor Court was established in Madras in 1687, and it consisted of a mayor and 12 aldermen and 60 or more burgesses. Now, when I was doing this in the class with you people, I told you that there was one mayor who was appointed, who will head this Mayor's Court, and to assist him, there'll be 12 aldermen and 60 or more burgesses, and these people will mainly be Englishmen only. And the first mayor and aldermen were nominated by the charter. So the first one, they were nominated by the charter. The mayor holds office for 1 year. Every year, the office of the mayor changes, as in a new person is appointed as a mayor, and aldermen elected the mayor annually. So, who elects the mayor? It is elected, the mayor is elected by these aldermen only. The mayor and aldermen select burgesses whose strength was not to exceed 120. So, the mayor and the aldermen both used to together select the the burgesses, and the total strength of the burgesses should not exceed 120. That means the highest strength of the burgesses should be at least 120, should be maximum 120. The mayor and 3 aldermen were to be English servants of the company, and others were to be from any nation. So out of these 12 aldermen, it is written, yes, out of these 12 aldermen, 3 have to be English, and the mayor also have to be English. Baki rest of the 9 aldermen can be from any nation. So this was the Mayor Code. The Mayor Code used to consist of a mayor, 12 aldermen, and not more than 120 burgesses, and 60 or more likha hai, but it should not exceed 20. And the mayor was elected by the aldermen only, and he used to be re-elected after every year. A new mayor used to be there, and 3 aldermen out of these 12 have to be English. Others can be from any other nation. Now, the Mayor Court tried civil and criminal both. So that means civil cases also comes to the Mayor Court, and criminal cases also comes to the Mayor Court. But the value is very less. So in civil cases, the value up to rupees 3 pagodas uh, can be tried by the Mayor Court, and in criminal cases with the help of jury, and punish the offenders by fine or imprisonment. So in criminal cases, the maximum punishment that can be awarded by the Mayor Court was a fine or an imprisonment. Death penalty was penalty was not to be given by the Mayor Court. So Mayor Court used to try both civil and criminal cases, but civil cases up to rupees 3 pagodas. And if I talk about criminal cases, that should not, that the type of punishment that can be prescribed by the Mayor Court in criminal cases is a fine or an imprisonment. Imprisonment means putting the person in jail, but it should not be death penalty. The death penalty is not provided by the Mayor Court. Next is appeals were allowed to the Admiralty Court. That means appeals from the Mayor Court can go to the Admiralty Court. Admiralty Court functioned till 1704. So till 1704, the appeals from the Mayor Court can go to Admiralty Court. Now in civil matters, the Admiralty Court had decided more than the value of 3 pagodas. In criminal cases, it had decided when punishment was to lose life or limbs. So Admiralty Court has a higher jurisdiction. Admiralty Court has decided the cases which are more than 3 pagodas, and in criminal cases, if I talk about the punishment, it used to decide the punishment of taking somebody's life. That means giving him death penalty, or losing limb. That means limb means mutilation of the limb. Suppose the hand is to be chopped off or legs is to be chopped off. So these punishments were given by Admiralty Court. Appeals from the Mayor Court and Admiralty Court were heard by Governor and Council. So from appeals from both Mayor Court and Admiralty Court can be heard by the Governor and Council. I'm again telling you, Governor and Council till 1726 was the highest court of appeal. But after 1726, you people know Privy Council has come into picture, and Privy Council, which is situated in England becomes the highest court of appeal. But before the coming of the Privy Council, it was actually the Governor and the Council who was the highest court of appeal. So appeals from both Mayor Court, this Mayor Court which I'm talking about, and the Admiralty Court can go to the Governor and Council. Now the Charter of 1726 established Mayor Courts at Madras, Bombay and Calcutta, consisted of a mayor and 9 aldermen. So there was a charter which came in 1726, and this charter established Mayor Courts at 3 provinces. Madras, it was already there, Calcutta and Bombay. But But in Madras also, according to the new charter, a new mayor court was established, and the strength of this mayor court was to be 10 in total. There'll be a mayor, and not more than 9 aldermen will be there to assist this mayor. Now, mayor and 7 aldermen were to be English, and the rest were subjects of princely Indian states friendly with Britain. So, out of these 9, 7 aldermen has to be English, and 2 can be given. These 2 aldermen positions can be given to the Indian princely states. Any person who wants to become an alderman. The mayor holds office for 1 year. This tenure remains the same. The mayor will be heading this office for 1 year. The aldermen hold office for lifelong. I've explained this in the class also. The aldermen are elected for the lifetime, but mayor are elected every year, and every year the outgoing mayor and aldermen elected a new mayor out of the aldermen. So out of these 9 aldermen only, the new mayor needs to be elected. So the mayor and aldermen filled up the vacancy of aldermen from among the inhabitants. So for example, this alderman I have told you in the class also has to be a person who resides in that place only. So if I have to be an alderman of Calcutta, I have to be a resident of Calcutta, and that this alderman is appointed for lifelong. For example, if if a vacancy is created of the mayor, now then out of these aldermen only a person can be chosen as a mayor. Now the governor and council could dismiss the aldermen on reasonable grounds. So on reasonable ground, these aldermen can be dismissed from their job. And who can do that? Governor and council has been authorized to dismiss the aldermen on reasonable ground. For example, they've been caught taking bribes, they do not deliver justice in proper order, they do not follow the principle of good conscience, equity. So they can be punished on reasonable ground. They can be dismissed also on reasonable ground. And last is, if the value of the suit was more than 1,000 pagodas. I told you, but this was after 1726. You can include this in your answer that after 1726, Privy Council was made as the highest court of appeal, and the Privy Council used to be situated in England. And if the value of the suit was more than 1,000 pagodas, then a second appeal was permitted to the court. That means if the value of the money that the case involves is more than 10,000 pagodas, then second appeal can be made to the Privy Council. But yes, obviously, because it was situated in London, which is very far from India, very less people used to make appeal to the Privy Council. So third stage may, first of all, if you talk about the Admiralty Court, which was initially created, it functioned till 1704. It used to deal with all the civil, criminal and mercantile related issues. Then mayor court was again for civil and criminal cases, and it used to consist of mayor, 12 aldermen, and not more than 120 burgesses. But later what happened, by the Charter of 1726, mayor courts were created at 3 places: Calcutta, Madras and Bombay. And the composition was a mayor and 9 aldermen, and out of these 9 aldermen, 7 has to be English. And the vacancy, if it arises, mayor is elected for every 1 year. If the vacancy arises from a mayor while going out, like once his tenure is completed, has to elect a new mayor from the aldermen only. And the governor and council has the higher authority, and it can dismiss the aldermen also on reasonable ground. And the highest court of appeal after 1726 becomes a Privy Council, and it used to deal with the suits which is above 1,000 pagoda. So this is the main crux of the administration of justice in Madras. I hope you don't have a problem, because this topic has already been done in the class, but I thought of revising this topic because again, this is an important topic. You just have to know the 3 stages, the courts that have developed initially: the agent and council, Chaudhary Court, governor and council. Then you should know about in the second stage, there is High Court of Judicature, the highest court of appeal. The second court of appeal, there is Chaudhary Court, and governor and council remains the High Court of Appeal. Then is your Admiralty Court, mayor court. Then mayor courts were established at Calcutta, Madras and Bombay. And lastly, after 26, Privy Council was created. So these Privy Council, why I have written, I've just mentioned about it. Privy Council have taught you as a separate topic also, if you people know. So this can be dealt as a separate topic. I hope you don't have any problem with the lecture. You have understood this. In case, again, if you have any doubts regarding the lecture, you can mail me the same. My mail ID is swati.saxena@alc.edu.in. Thank you so much.